Hey guys, Celestra here and welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to be showing you guys how I go about painting fur in the easiest and simplest way. This technique will give you a nice transition from a light to dark. You can do it with loads of different colors and shades and whatever you want to do. I will give you guys some example furs that I've done before at the end of the video. I'll be doing a bonus kind of one, but most importantly I'll be showing you how I've done this one here. Now, I won't really be going too in depth about like the skin or anything. It's mainly just about fur. So if it's like fur on cloaks and little space wolf talismans and stuff like that. So yeah, super easy. And yeah, let's get straight to it. Alrighty, so the first color we're going to be doing is Rakarth Flesh. And this is one of my favorite colors. It goes on easy on pretty much everything. You can use it for leathers, for furs, and you can use it for pale skin tones, or even rotting skin tones is really a great paint. So yeah, I'm just going to thin this down in my wet palette over here and just chuck on a couple coats, maybe 2, 3, till you got a nice even coat through all the fur. You can even go over the actual like flesh if you're doing a wolf or anything like that as well if you want to. But like I said, for this video it's all about the fur. So let's get cracking. As you can see, I'm just using a crummy old paintbrush for this stage. You really don't need anything fancy. You want something bigger, not a fine detail thing. You just want to slap this on everywhere. If I can stay in focus. Yeah, I think I might come back to this skin a bit later. So what I'm going to do is just going to paint it over there like that. Alright, I've actually just turned the light down a bit because here it's black, so the brighter light's fine, but now I'm putting a lighter color on. You know, the balance is starting to get a bit crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna do the other side. I'm gonna probably put a second coat, maybe a third coat on there, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright, at this point I've got 2 layers of Rakarth Flesh down. I mean, my light's probably a bit too bright there, you can probably see it better there. But what I've decided to do is, on the GW painting app, they have like a color called Primal Pelt is apparently what they recommend for Fenrisian wool skins. I kind of wanted to try it out. It seemed quite interesting, and it has the same wash that I'm going to be using for the fur. But like I say, if you're just doing the fur part, you don't need to pay attention to that. But if you're doing some wools or whatever, you can try this out as well. And I'm actually doing a little bonus one over here as well, which I'm going to try out. But yeah, I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so we've got our base coats to a pretty decent point. I mean, you could probably go for another layer. Like I said, my light's probably too bright for these bright colors. You could definitely go for a third layer if you want, but I think with this technique, with all the washes and stuff like that, it's not 100% necessary. Yeah, like I said before, with the GW painting app, they say use Celestra Grey, this color over here, and then a bit of Seraphim Sepia for kind of wolfy skin tones. So I've done that on there. It's a bit of an experiment because I've never done this one before. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I can build it up front, do the skin and the fur all in one color. So that's going to be kind of bonus content at the end of the video, but I'm going to get onto this one now and I'm going to start my washes. Now the wash that I'm using, like I said, is going to be Seraphim Sepia. If you don't have this, I think you could probably use Karak Earthshade as well. You can still get a nice brownish tone out of that. Alrighty, so hopefully that lighting might be slightly better now, not so, because like I said, these are very bright colors. Yeah, get your Seraphim Sepia or Agrax or whatever you want. I'm just going to use this brush again. If you've got a big one, like get the biggest, honkiest paintbrush you can get, because we're just going to slap this on there. So load up your paintbrush with that, and just start working your way around the entire model. Now, Fenrisian wools aren't that great around this area because they don't have very deep detail. But see, you can already see the color changing there. And now because I'm actually doing a wolf, not just like a little wolfy talisman or a pelt or something, I'm going to be using this on the actual grey that I laid down as well. So I'm going to see how that turns out. Yeah, so I'm just going to get this done and get back to you guys. Alright, so we've got our first layer of Seraphim Sepia down. As you can see, it's really changed the model up. And I think you can see the difference between the grey and all that. But once again, that's just kind of a bonus experiment on my part. And maybe you guys can find some use out of it. But it's all about the fur. Now this was the pure Celestra Grey version with the same wash. And yeah, at the end of the video, I'll see how that one turns out. So I'm going to put this away for the rest of the video now. And once that's dry, I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% dry. You can start working on the next steps, but it probably will help out. So I'm just going to wait for this dry, and then I'm going to get back to you guys, and we can actually start doing what this video is all about. Alrighty, so that first layer is done, and this is pretty much where the magic starts to happen now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the same wash on again, or I mean with this kind of stuff, because animal pelts, they're various colors, they got spots, you can really experiment with this, but I'm going to go pretty straightforward for you guys. Simple, easiest way to go about it. And wolves tend to be darker, well, any animals tend to be darker from above. So what we're going to do is the same wash again, but we're going to go maybe like a halfway point. Just wash it all over halfway, and then once that's dry, we're going to do the same thing, a little bit higher, depending on eventually how dark you want to go, how much of a transition you want. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys quickly how I go about doing it on this side. Now, probably should have got a bit higher there because the fur is a bit more shallow. Like I said, don't be scared if you go a bit darker or something in some sections. Wolves aren't uniform. Well, any sort of animals aren't really uniform. I mean, just look at your dog or look at pictures of wolves and you'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, really. I mean, if you wanted the skin and the fur to be like a bit more different and a bit dark, the fur to be darker, then you can do the whole thing again and then do it again, the halfway. But once you're highlighting, the skin's gonna be highlighted different to the fur. It'll definitely pop on its own. So yeah, I mean, let's have a look here at the face part here. Just you kind of want to put it on the tips like that, just like that. Make sure I get back there, and the top of the head. Yeah, just get the wash in there, like a nice halfway point. Maybe a bit more. And Bob's your uncle. Like I said, it doesn't have to be uniform. You can, maybe go back down the back of the leg a bit. But yeah, I'm going to do the same thing on that side and let it dry. Alright, so that's almost dry now. So we've got that halfway point. Now we're going to do the same thing again and just go slightly higher this time. So we want to go halfway of the halfway, if that makes any sense. So before we went from about there, now we're going to go up. So yeah, I'm going to do that quick and again, get back to you guys. Alright, so that's the second layer of wash done, slightly more towards the top, and you guys are starting to get the idea of what we're doing here. This is pretty much the gist of this technique. Gives you kind of a nice blend between a lighter and darker, and you can keep on going with this until you get the result you want. I mean, you can start lower and work your way up. You can keep on going until this top part is like almost black or whatever you want. You can mix, like now I'm doing Seraphim Sepia, you can throw in some agraks, you can, like I said, fur and stuff, you can do whatever you want, but this is the basis of this kind of technique. You're just building up the washes until you get to a darker point, and then that gives you a nice kind of wet blending effect. But we're not done yet. I'm going to do one more coat now, just on the top layer of the model, and then we're going to do some dry brushing work, and that's going to bring it all together. So yeah, this is not 100% dry yet, but like I said, I'm just going to be dabbing a bit on the top, and it takes too long to wait between coats to get this video done. So yeah, I'm going to chuck a bit on there, maybe a bit on the top there. Yeah, like I said, just kind of sticking to this kind of ridge he's got going on. Make that nice and dark. And there you have it. That's basically, I mean, obviously, once it's settled down and dried, it's going to look much better. And you got your nice little transition between the fur. It's a really, really simple technique. So I'm going to wait for that to dry up, and then I'm going to go through the dry brushing stage, and then we're pretty much done. Alrighty, so that's dry and it's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. I really like the colors that came out, I should say. Yeah, I think that's a pretty natural transitions, looking pretty nice. Definitely very wolfy. Now for the next step, you've got different options. Now you can go like straight up with a white or like an Nishabti bone, screaming skull. Something kind of like an off-whitish color, kind of keeping that lighter tone going on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a bit of Karak Stone. Now I'm going to go over all the hair everywhere. I'm going to try and miss out the skin because I've already painted the skin up. But if you haven't done any flesh or anything like that, that's not a big deal. So I'm going to go Karak Stone. And then if you want to keep the bottom lighter, you can dry brush just the bottom with some Screaming Skull. Like I said, that kind of bonish, off-white kind of color. Or you just go on the top. So the top will be really light compared to the bottom. Because obviously light will be shining down, but you'll still have that dark brownish color underneath it. Alright, so like I said, Karak Stone first. And for you guys that don't know what not airbrushing, what dry brushing is, I'll give you a quick little example of what to do. Like I said, this is just for anybody that's really new to the hobby. What you do is get yourself your dry brush or any sort of kind of chunky wedgy brush. I mean, this is an official Citadel one I got recently, but I mean, I've been using this one for years now. It's just a cheap little paintbrush there. Then all you got to do is, let me shake this up quick. Yeah, all you got to do is dab the tip of the paintbrush in there. You don't want to flood it because you just want a tiny bit of paint. So you just want to, like I say, dab that kind of like that there. If I can focus in. Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to have to go back and forth and do this a couple times to refresh your paintbrush. What you do is you do that, then you just kind of dab it into the paintbrush, get it all up in the bristles like that. Yeah, and then when you've got it all in there, what you want to do is you don't want to have loads of paint in there because as soon as you drag it across the model, it's just going to streak like big blobs of paint. So you actually want it quite thin. So what you can do is just kind of rub it on the tissue, make sure you don't have too much there. And yeah, that's looking decent. I'm probably going to have to go back there. But like I said, I'm just going to go all over with this. So yeah, I'm going to try and miss the skin on mine, like I said, but I can pretty much go crazy. Just drag it over there, back and forth, side to side. Just try and get it all up in there. So this just kind of picks up the edges. Then the paint goes inside the recesses, just picks up the top. Like I said, I didn't think I might have had taken a bit too little there. Yeah, I'm going to take a bit more. Don't drop that. But I'm already seeing some difference there, but I think you need a bit more into the bristles there. Make sure you get a lot of it off. See there, now I've got much more on there than I did before, and that should be all right. Now let's see what it looks like. Yeah, let's see now, that's really picking it out. And yeah, just keep on doing this all over the fur until you get the kind of transition that you want. And then I'll come back to you guys with the final color in a second. And there we go, that's the first layer of color done. I probably went a bit too thick on that little shoulder bit there, but you can already see that color's blending it all together. It's a lot more like dulled down now. It's looking pretty good. Now for the next step, like I say, with Screaming Skull, you don't really want to do this every way. This is kind of just to give it a bit more of a contrast. So, you can just do the kind of dry brush the top half because the light would be hitting from there. And like I say, if you want the bottom to be whiter, that can also be an option. But I'm just going to give it a bit, just kind of on the top sections and kind of see how it goes. Just hitting the tips and stuff like that. So yeah, same as before. Shake your part up, get a bit on there, dab it in the thing, and yeah, just go at it. And there you have it, guys. That's pretty much that model done now. Like I say, don't see the strong transition as much anymore, but I feel like that's probably a bit more of a natural take on it. Now you can, if you want to kind of smooth it all over again, get that kind of stronger blend, you can put another wash over that. But I think once you've painted in the kind of like skin tones, I mean, just because of this model, like I said, if you're doing a pelt, it doesn't matter as much. But for this one specifically, I think once you've got like the flesh and the nose and everything, and it'll definitely pop. Alright, I'm actually cutting in here quick. And I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera as much as say natural light. I mean, in person, there's definitely a transition. You can see like the difference between the browns and stuff. So you can leave it there. But you know, I really like contrast in my miniatures. Something can pop a bit. Now, because I want the top to be dark, and I've put quite a lot of light on there as well, so it's definitely highlighted enough. But what I might do is just go a bit like white and dry brush just the bottom. You know, just try and give it a bit more of a, you know, it's lighter down there. So that's just more of an experiment. Like I said, with fur and pelts and stuff, you can do whatever you want really. But this is just like the kind of the basic technique. So I'm going to quickly dry brush this on and get back to you guys to see how that looks. Alright, so that's the model with some white dry brush on the bottom. Yeah, maybe that's a better light right there. Definitely a nice transition. But like I said, if it's too light and you want to go back, you can definitely do another wash over the top. Like I said, for me, miniatures all about contrast. And there we have it. I think I'm going to call it there. I put a bit more Seraphim Sepia just on the top again, you know, just so it pops out a bit more. And yeah, that is basically it. Like I said, you could have stopped this ages ago, but I just want, you know, I want to get it feeling right. So I've gone a little bit back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of models I've done before in a similar technique. But like I said, this is pretty much it. So comment below what you think of this kind of technique and hope it helps you guys out. You know, just a one base color and work your washes up, and one dry brush should do the trick. And like I said, if you want, then you can start putting more washes to darken certain sections down again. But yeah, I'm going to cut to some different examples. But if you guys are going to leave at this point, thanks for watching. And yeah, definitely comment and like below. And if you enjoyed this video, also maybe check out my channel and subscribe. But like I said, I'll quickly cut to some examples for you guys. So yeah, this is my Mournfang test model I've been doing recently. And similar to the wolf thing I did today, it was Rakarth Flesh, Seraphim Sepia, but obviously I didn't build the colors up. But what I did do, another technique with this kind of washing and stuff like that, is I put Agraks Earthshade on the fur on the like near the feet. So obviously it looks a little bit dirtier. So I did the Seraphim Sepia, waited for that to dry, put some Agraks Earthshade on the bottom, then dry brushed it. So it's kind of got that transition there, so it's a bit dirtier on the bottom. So that's another thing you guys can do. And yeah, I just dry brushed this with white and pallid witch flesh, so getting that kind of dirty white fur coat going on. Alright, here are some of my space wolves are done. Like I said, not attached to a wolf or anything like that. Just some of the pelts. Different colors, but the same technique. Like I said, this one I think might have been like Xandri Dust with Agraks Earthshade. Not the neatest of transitions, but yeah, you can definitely hopefully see that. The light's not very good. There's that one. Like I said, here on my Rune Priest, I kind of went for grey and built it up to like a black. Like it's not showing up great on that one. Yeah, here's another one of green stuffed little pelt on there. You can definitely see it goes from light to almost like a black there. Like I said, I think this might have been like Agraks Earthshade, and then just going like Nuln Oil or something like that. You can definitely mix up your washes. Similar thing here, just, you know, getting the like down here darker, dry brushing. All that kind of thing is a really, really simple way. So you don't have to do any like wet blending and adding different colors in. It's all about the washes. And this was the bonus kind of one where I just went Celestra Grey everywhere, washed it all over, and a dry brush white on everything, just white, skin, hair, everything, and then obviously at the end I just put another wash of on the top there just to give it a bit of a contrast. And it's not as nice, but it's definitely if you want to super quick get some wolves done, yeah, you can do the skin and the fur all just by using washes and dry brush. Not too bad. Talking about that, I actually just finished dry brushing the white on this skin, so I thought actually it looks pretty decent. So yeah, that's the end of this video, guys. I hope this technique will be helpful for you, and all the things I said before by like, comment, and subscribing. So yeah, until then, guys, see you in the next one. Bye-bye.